Yeah, so he went right up to the third knuckle and made my eyes water. Well, we're on. Hello, my name is Nigel Peregrine, Beverly Loss Adjuster, insurance juggernaut, professional bastard. And I'm here with my podcast, bit out of the blue, innit? Showing you what it's like on the front line of insurance. No surprise, I've had a drink, got myself a whiskey. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, don't build your hopes up. I'm not saying this is going to be a series or anything carrying on. It's just a one-off. I just do it when I like. But the reason why I'm doing this is I was contacted by Brano. Bloody good bloke, bloody good adjuster. He reached out to me, says, yeah, Mr. Peregrine, because he's very respectful. He don't cross the line, yeah. He says, Mr. Peregrine, any words of wisdom you can give to the grad community that he looks after for the firm that he works for. Brano's been following me for a long time, follows me on the Facebook, he follows me on the LinkedIn, sometimes he follows me down the shops. I'd say, no, Brano, back off, Brano, you're crossing the line. I'm joking. I don't know him. Or do I? No, I don't know him. Well, bloody good bloke. Or do I know him? No, I don't know him. But, so I thought I'd do like an episode where I talk about, give a bit of wisdom to the youngsters. These grads, these youngsters, they're coming into the fray. Coming into the game, the insurance game. It's not for everyone, into the elite of society. Once you step into this game, you're no longer a normal human being. You walk amongst the general population, the insurance ignorant. They haven't got a shitting clue. So I thought I'd do something, just give you a little bit of insight. Teach you a few things, prepare you young bucks, it's all changed, it's like, you look at a lot of the loss adjusters now, the new ones, they come in, they've got this bronzer, they've got this eyebrow threading, they get the nails done, don't they, and that's just the blokes. Different breed. Understand what you're stepping into. A few things you gotta learn, things they don't tell you with Scylla or the CII. They don't teach you this shit there. Oh no, I'm giving you the real shit here. Like the collective noun for a group of loss adjusters is a pride. I hope you enjoy the training. The hand-to-hand combat, that's always good. And, the evasive driving. I enjoyed that bit as well. Hope you enjoy that as well.
This guy here is a peregrine. He belongs to the family Falconidae.
Their scientific name is Falco peregrinus, which literally means
bastard. One thing I've got to advise you is you've got to be careful, right, getting into this game. Sometimes you might be tempted to take the work home with you. Don't take the work home with you, all right? No, leave it at work. Well, I can talk. Last week I offered a young lady, alternative accommodation. My spare room. Had nothing to do with her being, bloody gorgeous. No. Always the consummate professional bastard that I am. She said no. Understandable, to be fair. The claim was just for a stained carpet. So, but that don't stop me. I still take work home with me, I've got 2 loss assessors in the shitting shed right now. Can't say too much about that for obvious reasons. Speaking of loss assessors, you will come across a lot of loss assessors in your time, right? How can you tell if a loss assessor's lying? Their lips are moving. I'm joking. Loss assessors are good for some things. Like, for instance, I've got a mate, right, Paul, farmer, lovely bloke. His muck spreader failed. Got a couple of loss assessors down there, just got them in the field talking. Fertilised all those crops, lovely. All that bullshit, lovely. I give them a hard time. You've got to give them a hard time. Yeah? They're the boil on the arsehole of society. Oh, actually, loss assessors. So, a little bit of a backstory. I've been getting a bit of grief, right, from a loss assessor. Surprise, surprise. There's been this bloke, his name's Peter Swindle. He's been going around handing out leaflets, giving it large. Yeah, reckons he's a black belt in ninjutsu, right? Telling policyholders that if I turn up, you know, putting a complaint. He's already given them pre-written complaint letters already about me, handing them out. Let me tell you, last week, the other day, I turned up at a job, right? And the lady says, hold on a second, my loss assessor's just turned up, right? What do I hear?
Ooh, barracuda.
Oh, yeah. I thought, hold on a minute. Could it be? You see, this bloke calls himself the Barracuda. Peter Swindle calls himself the shitting Barracuda because apparently he squeezes the shit out of every claim and gets as much as he can out of it. Stupid prat. Didn't realise that a barracuda was not a snake, right? It's a bloody fish. What an arse clap. Unbelievable. Yeah. So he put it on his business cards and everything. Yeah. Peter Swindle, a.k.a. the Barracuda, loss assessor. Absolute fish nipple of a man. His car rocks up, he gets out, he walks over to me. I said, hello? Can you hear me? He says, yeah, I can hear you. What's going on? I said, oh, Leo, you look miles away. He said, oh, very funny. The bloke's only about 4'11". I said, look at you. You're the loss assessor, are you? He says, yeah, I know who you are. I says, do you? He says, yeah, you're Peregrine. Nigel Peregrine. I've been waiting to cross paths with you. I says, oh, really? You must be Peter Swindle, shitting, a.k.a. the Barracuda. He says, oh, yeah, you've heard of me. I said, I've heard of you. I know about the shitting letters, right, you've been passing around to people. Complaint letters. You're out of order, Swindle, right? He says, oh, yeah, what you gonna do, Peregrine? I says, what am I gonna do? I'll do what I was shitting like. You're in 4'11". He says, I'm 5 foot, actually. I said, I couldn't give a shit. You're a shitting miniature. You're pathetic. He says, don't let me get physical. I said, don't make me laugh. You're supposed to be a black belt in shitting ninjutsu. What you gonna do? Throw a smoke bomb and jump into the rafters? Takes the piss, mate. He says, shall we go in and have a look at the claim? I says, I'll go in and have a look at the claim, yeah? I don't know what you're going to do. I'll flash big around the U-bend. Can we have a real assessor, please? Because they appear to have sent a miniature version, like a tester version. He says, no need for that. You know when you, want to do a bit of painting, right? You might get a little tester pot. And you, from B&Q or something, get yourself a little tester pot. Well, here he is, this Barracuda, 4'11" of bullshit. He says, I don't like your attitude. I said, no, I don't like your attitude either, off cut. Anyway, long story short, he was all sorted in the end. I picked him up, threw him in a bush. Yeah, couldn't get out, you see. Any little fella. So, you're welcome, I said to the policyholder. I said, fill him in after. We'll sort this out. Don't worry about him. Yeah, black belt in ninjutsu. He'll get out of there. He'll be all right.
Peregrines will live on coasts, cliffs, prairies, tundras, valleys, along mountain ranges, and right at home in our skyscrapers.
If you live in a tall enough building downtown, look outside and you might be lucky enough to spot one.
Load of bollocks, eh? New loss adjusters. I wonder what car you're going to get. You got a car yet? What car you got? I guarantee it won't be as good as the, some of the cars we've got, I tell you, are pretty special. I drive a Ford Capri. My mate Rigger Jones, bloody good adjuster. Yeah. Ford Sierra Cosworth. Yeah. What are you driving? I said to one of my colleagues, he says to me, I've got a new car. I said, what you got? He says, I got a Ford Mondeo. I said, Mondeo? He says, Mondeo. I said, Mondeo? He says, Mondeo. I said, Mon? He says, Deo. I went, Deo, Deo. Daylight, come and we wanna go home. You probably won't get that because you're probably young. What else has been going on? Oh, a bit of hybrid working. We're hybrid working now. Everyone's hybrid working. Are they working from home? Are they working in the office? Bit of a blend of the two. I tell you, it's difficult, isn't it? Difficult with people not working in the office. Especially when you get a crumb-covered keyboard cretin gobshite giving it large. You can't wait for them in the car park of their office anymore, can you? Stripped to the waist. No, for a little chat. You can't do that anymore, can you? I'd say it was the biggest change to working conditions since Declan E. Blunder banned smoking in the office in 2016. Good times. I tell you, I mean, it's not like that now. Back in the day, I used to walk into the office, seeing Dave Sledge, bloody good adjuster, fag in his mouth, brandy glass on his desk, just been topped up, Yeah. One hand doing bicep curls, the other hand is holding the phone, to the policyholder that he's making cry. I mean, that's multitasking. You're going to see some shit, I'll tell you. You are going to see some shit. You're going to have some stories working in this game, are you? I went to one job a couple of weeks ago, and they just buzzed me in. Yeah, come in, come on up, yeah, come on up, yeah, come in, I'll go in. Anyway, they're only bloody naturists. I mean, shit's a brick. I mean, he's there, bollock naked. His missus is there, bollock naked. Well, she not bollock, but she's naked. Disgusting. I said, shit's a brick. Shit's a brick. I said, look at the state of it. He says, do you mind? It's only natural. I said, it's a shitty natural disaster. Look at that. He says, how dare you? That's my wife. I said, yeah, listen, mate. I said, put it away, yeah? I said, you're a man of a certain age. Technically, your bollocks are a trip hazard. They were dangling low. Oh, yeah. We had to go in the loft. Yeah. Had an ingress of water. Wanted to show me the loft, didn't he? Yeah. Offered to lead me up the ladder into the loft. I said, no, you're all right, mate. I can manage. I don't need nightmares. Besides, we don't need to witness your bollocks clanging on every pissing rung of the ladder, do we? You're going to need to know where to go to the loo. Yeah. I've found that policyholders can get a little bit shirty. If you go for a shit and you complete their crossword. They don't like that, so, bear that in mind. I mean, some people don't even let you use the loo. I went to look at a subsidence claim a couple of months back. Posh bird, arachnid woman, she was, and a little rat of a dog. I said, can I use the loo? She said, no. Fair enough. Probably didn't help that I'd not long warned her that if that rat of a dog came anywhere near me, I said, don't blame me if I accidentally stamp on it. I mean, tread on it. Anyway, I was bursting, right? So she left me outside, went indoors. So I had a look at the crack and then snuck behind the shed. Found a large empty plant pot. Had a quick shit. I didn't leave it in there. I just emptied it on the lawn by the shed. Well, turns out the rat had ran through the dog flap, runs over to me and starts sniffing my little brown gift. Then she comes out with a plastic bag in her hand. "Benkei," she shouts. I was like, yeah, it's subs. I need to monitor the crack, so I'll be back in a couple of weeks or so. All right, bye. As I'm walking off, I'm hearing the silly cow asking the rat how it's managed to produce something so large. Yeah. Then she said something about it being warm. Now, before you ask, yes, I wiped. I've got some tissues on me. I'm prepared. I'm not shitting stupid. I chucked them over the fence into the neighbour's garden. Yeah. Noticed they'd gone in the neighbour's pond. Shame about the koi carp. I mean, they're expensive to replace, aren't they? Some other tips for you. You learn this through experience. This is gold. I hope you're making notes. Dado rail is a fraud indicator. If you don't know what dado rail is, I mean, that just says it all, doesn't it? Comb overs, fraud indicator. If they offer you a drink, fraud indicator, never accept. You'd be surprised at the lack of hygiene standards with people. Honestly, shit a brick. Avoid it. Unless you want dysentery. If they have children, fraud indicator. Wearing slippers, fraud indicator. Elderly, fraud indicator. I mean, you get the impression. I mean, they say that this job makes you cynical. Absolute bollocks. So I thought I'd share a Peregrine tale with you from when a youngster wanted an insight into the life as a loss adjuster, wanting to spend the day with yours truly. So yeah, I gave him an eye-opening insight into life fighting on the front line of insurance. So this episode is called Peregrine's Apprentice. I arrived at the house sharply at 8:10 a.m. The wheels of my Ford Capri skidding to a halt. You can't bloody beat the grip of a part-worn, close to illegal Bridgestone. The smell of burning rubber excites me. Well, unless it's a burning tyre factory. I mean, then it's a right bowl ache. I had arrived at the given address, but this wasn't a visit, oh no. I'd been asked to pick up some fresh blood. A chap called Gavin, who wanted to become a loss adjuster. It's time for a new breed to enter the fray. But the question is, are they mentally or physically tough enough? Do they have the inner workings of a loss adjuster? The mental sharpness, the right hook, the liver that can consume copious amounts of alcohol before starting the day? I shall be putting Gavin through his paces. I beeped my horn. The curtain twitched before the young, scrawny pipsqueak left the house and came jogging down enthusiastically to the Capri. He opened the passenger door and climbed in. "Hello, Nigel. Nice to meet you." He offered his hand. I shook his hand hard, like a bloody loss adjuster does. His grip was feeble. This did not bode well. "Hello, Gavin," I replied. "Greg," he replied quickly. "Whatever," I grunted. I cranked the stereo up so that the sounds of the Eagles' Life in the Fast Lane blasted out in none other than Stereo. "Buckle up, twinkle toes," I shouted and hit the pedal to the floor without so much as a mirror or signal before the manoeuvre, because that sort of thing is for nonces. We thundered along. I could see he was holding onto the panic grip above the door on the passenger seat. This was all part of the test. As we were on the last verse of Life in the Fast Lane, I slammed on the brakes, bringing the beast to a sudden stop. Gavin almost hit his head off the dash. I cut the sound to the stereo. Gavin looked alarmed. "Gavin, give me the 8 principles of insurance." With wide eyes, he whimpered. Wrong, I shouted. "There aren't even 8 principles of insurance. You've failed already. Give me the 7 principles of insurance." Again, with a slight look of fear, he mumbled, "What? Wrong again, Gavin. There aren't even 7 principles. Do you even want to be a loss adjuster? Good God, man. You probably still wet the bed. Give me 50 push-ups. 50 push-ups, Nigel. You do not call me Nigel. From now on, you refer to me as Staff. Do you understand?" "Yeah, okay, geez." "What?" "Yeah. Yes, what?" "Yes, Staff." "Good. Now get out. Give me 50 push-ups. I'm not moving on until you do." Sure enough, he got out, and there by the side of the road, he started to do his 50 push-ups. I stood by, watching and smoking a fag. Then, a highway traffic patrol officer came along, told us that apparently you can't stop on the hard shoulder to do press-ups. Where's the freedoms these days, eh? Bring back the 60s, without the gonorrhea. That's what I say. We set off, and then I went a little easy on him. I said, don't panic, Graham. I'm just testing your resolve. You might end up crying by the end of the day. Don't take it personally. I reached into my inside pocket, withdrew my trusty hip flask. Here, have a swig. After some assurance and explaining that every adjuster carries one of these, he took a swig and coughed ferociously. If it's not burning, it's not strong enough. Don't worry. In 35 years' time, maybe you'll be doing this to some young lad who wants to play with the big boys. He looked at me blankly. Some of the colour had drained from his face. Could have been the whiskey, could have been my incredibly skilled, if erratic, driving. Thank the exceptional handling of the Ford Capri, the cool and sexy mechanical workhorse, befitting of an uber-cool sexual juggernaut that is the loss adjuster controlling this wild and mechanical beast. What are you doing now? I asked. I'm a desktop claims handler, replied Gordon. Nah. A bloody namby-pamby, let's talk to people down the phone where it's safe, whilst eating biscuits and getting crumbs into our dust-filled decrepit keyboards of filth, and drinking free coffee whilst having a dress-down day to celebrate some shitty event, like Lorraine Kelly's menopause. Signing a birthday card and putting half your wages in collections and trying to be pleasant with people with whom you share a piece of coffee-stained, flea-infested carpet thanks to one stinky member of your team who you'd love to tell to get in a bath of bleach with a wire brush, but both you and I know that if you do say something, you get dragged into bloody HR because it's not acceptable, to be honest. You just have to sit there shoveling shit all day on your phone and nod your head at the right place because the powers that be don't want anyone to rock the boat. They expect you to bend over, take it like a good one, and they'll shove a shitty little payslip in your mouth once a month. Gordon looked at me wide-eyed. I think I'd struck a chord. Well, stay bent over, son, and grit your teeth. This is loss adjusting. Peregrine. I'd driven for about half an hour before finally pulling up outside the cafe. Is this our first visit? Asked Thingamajig. I said, yes it is. Get out. We're going in. Keep an eye on all exits. And if it kicks off, can you handle yourself? He looked at me concerned. What's going on? What do you mean? What do you mean? Staff. What do you mean staff? I surveyed the area around outside, looking over his shoulder, taking in all of the surroundings. This building of drama was all part of the fun and games though. Brekkie, I replied as I opened the door and went inside. But I've already had breakfast, the boy said. I ignored him. As I entered the cafe, I said hello to Greasy Mick, who I've known for years. Mick, I will have the bloody belly buster bastard breakfast, whatever the young lad wants. What do you want, son? Mick, do you do those miniature packs of cereal, you know? Do you want a little box of Cocoa Pops or something? He says, I'm 34 years old. Are you? Shit's a brick. Well, I'm sorry if I thought you were a bit on the young side, Jeff. I mean, your voice hasn't broken yet. Greg, whatever. I turned to Mick. Mick, forget that order of a miniature box of cereal. This chap, apparently, he's a man. Better give him a bloody belly buster bastard breakfast and all. We sat, eating a belly buster each. John looked uncomfortable. What's the matter, son? That's courtesy of Declan E. Blunder. Enjoy it. Don't panic. This place has no record of salmonella, E. coli or Ebola. Well, not for a couple of months. So, you should be alright. I didn't know adjusters get their meals paid for, he said. We don't. I just put it through with the parking or fuel costs. There's always a way, son. Get it down here. It's beer o'clock in a little over 3 hours' time. What's the time of our first visit, he asked. I said 9:15 sharp. Are we going to make that? Probably not. Welcome to loss adjusting, son. Speak. At 9:40am, we were still en route to our first visit. A cellar that had apparently been flooded. Gary, I'll give you a little tip. Life on the road can be difficult. Get to know where you can stop for the loo. Build up a mental map of places where you can grab a loo break. Service stations, McDonald's, a bush, a skip on a council estate. Are you thirsty? He shook his head. Can you see that little bottle of Lucozade in the footwell? Gavin picked up the bottle. This one? He asked. Yeah, that's the one. That ain't Lucozade. Sometimes you get stuck in traffic. Always have a spare bottle around. Gavin threw the bottle back into the footwell in disgust, like a shitting ponce. We arrived at the house. Follow my lead, I said, as I gave 3 firm, authoritative knocks on the door. Now you try, I said to the what's-his-face. As he went to knock, the door was opened by Mrs. Chaffin Squawk. I said, shut the door. Shut the door, love, yeah? I mean, we're not ready yet. I pulled the door closed and again insisted that the boy knocks. He did 3 average knocks, and then, following my coercing, Chaffin Squawk opened the door. Mrs. Chaffin Squawk, Nigel Peregrine, loss adjuster. I've come to adjust the shit out of your claim. Don't mind the boy. He won't touch anything, will you, sir? We crossed the threshold. 2. Well, I said that, 1.5. Insurance indemnifying bastards. You're late. You were supposed to be here half an hour ago, she squawked like a bloody pterodactyl. Yeah. All right. Let's get some perspective, shall we? We're a bit late, but it ain't exactly Syria, is it? So, let's look at the damage, shall we, sweetheart? Brian was just about to leave. He's got another job to go to, she continued. Who's Brian? Your boyfriend? I asked, with a cheeky knowing wink to what's-his-face thingamajig, you know. No, he's the builder looking at it for me, she replied, with no acknowledgement of the banter that I'd just thrown out there. I mean, she weren't buying. Miserable cow. We descended the stairs and followed the long wire of the extension cord into the damp cellar. In there, a single dehumidifier humming away and an overweight, greasy builder called Brian. It was clear to see what was going on here. So, Brian, this is the damage, is it? I said, pointing to the damp walls. Yeah, he said. How long you had this running for? I asked, pointing to the dehumidifier. A month so far, he said. Excuse me. Okay. I know what's occurring here, I said. I then placed a hand on young Gethan's shoulder. I said, you know what to do. He looked at me blankly. Meanwhile, the dinosaur wench and her cowboy builder stood looking on, wanting to know what happens here. I leaned into the young pup and whispered into his ear. Listen here, Tinkerbell. You sit in your little ivory tower of coffee-stained tranquility. You probably piss sitting down, and that's all right. But this is a baptism of fire. You want to be a loss adjuster? You got to turn this shit down. Wide-eyed, the pup stepped forward. Mrs. Chaffin Squawk, the thing is, don't go telling me it's not covered. I've been insured with you for 30 years and never made a claim before. Now I want this dealt with. Brian nodded supportingly. What did he know? He was just some opportunistic, overweight cowboy. But could the boy stand up to this? Would the boy become a man? He looked at me, started sweating. He was gonna crack. I noticed an old wooden chair. This would be my weapon should the shit go down. In this moment, you gotta be very aware of your surroundings. Yeah? Be aware of any kind of weapons that are available to hand. You might have your own weapon of choice, right? I have a brass companion, yeah? Some adjusters, they like telescopic baton. I've also got one of them as well. Some like a nice chain, you know. Sometimes you got to be a little bit tooled up. It's a side of it of adjusting people ain't got a shitting clue about. They think insurance is boring. Piss off. Right, I've hied up the chair. Step aside, son. Not so easy face to face, is it? I stepped in front of Gavin. Now, when was the last time you had this tanked? I asked. What's that? Asked the Velociraptor. You may or may not realise that right now, we are below the Earth's surface. Deep down, near the Earth's core. We are indeed subterranean right now. The wench looks at Brian. I said, don't look at him. He won't know what that means. Now, underground, there's a common theme. That being a certain level of moisture. Much moistness. Because, you see, the ground holds a lot of water, don't it? This kind of dampness in all the walls, well, that's associated with that. It's not a one-off isolated event which your policy would cover. You got a pond? Yeah, I have, but what's that got to do with anything? She asked. You don't think the pond is bloody leaking, do you? Scoffed Brian. I said, say it, son. The claim is repudiated? with the enthusiasm of a shaking Jack Russell in a cold bath. But the wench wasn't finished. What's the point of having insurance? I'll tell you what, you're going to hear that a lot. Oh yeah, you'll hear that a lot. Yeah, look forward to that. I said, do I look like Nick Knowles to you? Is this shit in DIY SOS? I know there's a builder here, but to be honest, it looks like his horse has ran off. Because I didn't see it tied up outside. Hold on a minute, shouted Brian. Peregrine. To which, in a single motion, I scooped up the chair and I threw it at Brian, who ducked, and the chair collided into the damp wall behind. The plaster crumbled, and the pterodactyl squawked something incomprehensible. I said the plaster was coming off anyway. The boy was cowering like a ponce. He wasn't adjusted material, just as I had predicted. Some poor victim of abusive potty trading or some other shit like that. I said, Brian, you're taking the piss. Be grateful I ain't got a shitting BBC film crew with me. I tell you what, I'll show you how useful this dryer is. I told the boy to grab one end and I grabbed the other. To the confusion of the other two, we climbed the stairs with a dehumidifier and took it into the back garden. Then we threw the bloody thing into the fish pond with a crack as it splashed into the water. The power went out in the house and a few fish started floating on the surface. With a scream, the wench shouted, "What are you doing? Sticking that dehumidifier in the cellar is like trying to dry that pond out like that. It's as useless as the Pope's shit-in pecker." I shouted to the boy, "Gavin, my name's Greg," he replied. "Whatever. Let's move. To the indemnity mobile. We have no time to lose." I realised that had kind of turned into the Adam West version of Batman. Then Brian tried to stand in my way, but I wasn't stopping. I said, "Brian, you're a big bloke, but you're out of shape. I'll throw you in that shitting pond and all." He knew. He stepped aside. "You gotta be aggressive at times. Don't be afraid to be aggressive, yeah? You are an elite specimen. You are the Spartan of the finance industry. Not my words. The words of the Chartered Insurance Institute. We left the frenzy behind and went to the pub for lunch. I mean, it was only 10:15, but we'd earned a pint of Elven Quest. The rest of the afternoon was pretty normal. An escape of water and a theft claim, whereby there were questions about the security condition being adhered to. So I made the youngster attempt to break in. I dropped him off at 3:37 p.m. after a long, hard day of adjusting. It wasn't an emotional goodbye. I don't do emotional goodbyes. I simply screeched the car to a halt outside his gaff and I said, "Right then, piss off." Off he went to contemplate his future. I haven't heard from him since. Not sure where he wants to pursue his career further. I mean, it's not for everyone, this loss adjusting lark, admittedly.
Hello and welcome to the Financial Ombudsman Service.
Piss off! And there you have it. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that insight into the front line of insurance. I just want to say I wish you youngsters well. It's kind of like good luck, but also condolences. Yeah, in equal measure. But who knows? 35 years in the game, maybe you'll be where I am. You know, telling some young pup the same thing I'm telling you now. Yeah, good luck. I wish you all the best. You are now one of the elite. Congratulations. I'm going to get shit-faced. What's that? Oh yeah, I gotta say, like, share this. I mean, if you're a young pup and you found it useful, you're probably going to find other young pups are going to find it useful as well. So, you know, share the good news. Sound like a shitty Jehovah's Witness. Yeah, I wish you all the best. Oh, like, subscribe, share, like. You gotta share it, you gotta like it, you gotta subscribe it. Can I just go and have a drink now? What? Shit. Shut up, you tart. Right, I'm out of here. Ta-da.